Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, not new here, a returning subscriber, returning viewer, welcome. How are we? So, as you can tell from the title down below, you already know why you're here. You know what we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about my breast augmentation procedure. Your girl got new boobs. Very exciting stuff. So yeah, if you want to hear a little bit about my journey and my experience, then just keep watching. I'm going to try to run through everything like relatively quick. But yeah, so hopefully I can run through this as quick as possible and not just chatter on. But so I think the first thing I should start out with is my surgeon and how I found him. So the surgeon that I went to was Dr. Wijay. He is at the Oaks Plastic Surgery. I found him through a friend who has had hers done. She hadn't personally had hers done by him specifically, but she had seen his work and had recommended him to me and sent me his Instagram page so I could actually like check out his work, because I told her a little bit about what I was looking for as far as like the look I was going for. And so she sent me his Instagram page, and that is how I found him. For me, I would rather go to someone that I trust recommending rather than just going to someone, which I mean, you can do your research online and you go to your consultation and you can kind of get a feel if you're gonna like them or if like it's not really gonna be a good fit for you. But yeah, I think that was like the best possible outcome that I could have had to find a surgeon. So what happens is you go to the consultation and you'll try on the different implant like CC sizes, and then you'll start at like say like 250 cc's, and then you go up from there until you feel like you're like, okay, these look a little too big, or this is where I want to be at. From there, after you pick the CC size, you will pick the type. So my surgeon uses gummy bear implants, or at least that's what I got. And so with a gummy bear implant, they have 3 different types: full, fuller, and fullest. So the full is very natural. It sits kind of flat. The fuller sits up a little bit higher, and the fullest would be like sitting up really high. So it looks a little bit more round. If you look them up on Google, you can kind of see the different profiles, and that's all about preference, how you want them to look. So for me, I wanted them to be kind of natural, but then also kind of like, you could tell, like, obviously you're spending this money for these implants and everyone has different preferences, but for me, I did want them to, like, you know, give a little something, something. So I went with the second one because I felt like, you know, it's in the middle between really natural and really full. So that's what I did. And for me, for size, I went with 365 cc's personally. I feel like it's good size for me. My inspiration for the size I went was influencer / YouTuber Daisy Marquez. And I'm gonna go ahead and link everyone's like Instagrams down below. I'll link Daisy's, I'll link my surgeons down below in the description box in case you want to check out their Instagrams or their pages or whatever. But yeah, so Daisy Marquez was actually my inspiration. She had a breast augmentation done, and I watched her video whenever she had it done, and I just always thought the like size she went was perfect, and our builds are kind of the same as far as like we are about the same height, like 5'1", 5'2", and our weight is about the same. Her weight is carried a little bit differently than mine, but I did feel like that was who I wanted to go. Hers weren't too big. They looked very natural. They looked very pretty on her. So that is why I went that size. The surgeon did go under the muscle, which he said is the most like natural looking, just because it's going to go under the muscle, not be sitting on top, so it'll look a little bit more natural. So that's what we did. I guess we could talk a little bit about pricing, because in the consultation, you try on the sizes, and then, you know, you kind of figure out when you want to do it, if you really want to do it, and then pricing. So my consultation was in April. I set my surgery date for November, mostly because I was still saving up for my surgery. So I wanted to give myself a timeline as far as like, okay, if I save this much money every check and every month, then I will be able to have enough by this date. So I decided on November 8th was the day I went in for surgery, and pricing was $66.50 for me. The implant itself was only like $2,000 something, and the rest of the fees were really just the surgery room, the anesthesia, and things like that. So $66.50. I did pay in full because I was lucky enough to pay in full, but the other option would be Care Credit, which is a credit card that you can use to pay for things like that. So yeah, those are the two different options. Now let's talk a little bit about why I got a breast augmentation. So the reason why I got one was because I just wanted one. There wasn't really any insecurity necessarily as far as like I didn't like the way my boobs looked, but I did wish they were bigger, and when I wear shirts they would like fill them out a little bit more, show a little bit more cleavage. Ever since like my probably sophomore year, junior year in high school, I had said that I had been wanting bigger boobs, and if I ever had the chance to come across enough money to either save up on or have enough money to get them, then I would. And I was lucky enough to come across some money and save up on it. And yeah, so that is why I did, because I was in my head, I'm like, what better time than now? I mean, you know, if I have enough money to save upon, it kind of makes sense. Now let's talk a little bit about the surgery itself. Leading up to the surgery, everything's pretty normal. I think I had my like last follow-up like 2 weeks before the actual surgery. So with that, they do your blood work, you pay for it, then you have to pay for it 2 weeks before, or you know, before you actually have the surgery, so you don't just get the implants and run. They get you set up and they do all your blood work, you sign all the papers, they get you set up with your medication, so the day of surgery you don't have to worry about anything. And it was actually like pretty easy leading up to it. The night before surgery, you do have to bathe with like a specific soap that they have. You're not able to use any deodorant, lotion, perfumes, or anything like that on the body. And then the morning of, which mine was, I think my surgery was at like 8, but I had to be there at like 6:30 or something like that. And the morning of, you also have to bathe in that antiseptic wash that they give you. No deodorant, lotion, nothing like that. And they do prefer that you don't really like bring anything, just because, you know, you don't really need anything. You will need someone to drive you home because you're going to be drugged up. So obviously you ain't going to be able to drive. You're also going to be in pain. So yeah, you know, you're going to do a surgery. But I was lucky enough for my mom to take off of work to come with me to the surgery. You are waiting in the waiting room. You know, I was waiting with my mom, luckily, until you're ready to go back there. And then your sleep. My surgery took an hour. You wake up and then you have boobs. As far as pain, it's crazy because I did do some research, and you know, I watched like YouTube videos of people's experiences, and I talked to certain people about it too, and a lot of them would say, you know, you are asleep because they put you to sleep on anesthesia, and then you wake up and you have boobs, and like you just feel some pressure on your chest, like some books are on your chest, which I think also depends on like how big you go, because obviously, you know, the bigger you go, the more weight you're gonna feel. But yeah, so after the surgery, I know the biggest thing they stress is being very nauseous from the anesthesia or being very nauseous from the medication. I wasn't nauseous at all, which I got really, really lucky with, because I can imagine being nauseous after having the surgery. it would have sucked. I really thought I was going to be like in a ton of pain, but on the pain scale 1 to 5, I'd give I'd give it a 2. As long as you're taking your pain meds when you're supposed to and you're not waiting until you're already in pain. I will say it was a really like relatively easy healing. Well, yeah, like healing in a sense of it wasn't as painful as you would think it would be, surprisingly, because I was like, man, you know, I'm probably not gonna be able to get around at all. Nope, I was able to pretty much walk and do everything I normally did. Day of, I think I got Slotsky's and then came home and chilled. And then the next day I went to get my nails and toes done with my mom, and I think we went like to eat. Yeah, and all week I was able to get around fine. The day of, I was able to like lift my arms and everything. Obviously, you don't want to be like overextending yourself and like reaching. I have no complaints. I think it was actually a relatively easy healing procedure. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, the first 6 weeks, there is certain stuff you're not able to do. You aren't able to lift anything over like 10 pounds for 6 weeks. You're not able to, of course, do any like working out. After 6 weeks, you can do like cardio, like stair step or elliptical, whatever. And then you can do like lower body, but you can't really do any upper body. You have to sleep sitting up at an angle. Yeah, so you can't sleep on your side. My doctor did say like by day 7, if I wanted to, I could just make sure to like put pillows down. And I had tried it after 2 weeks, but it honestly was pretty painful because whenever, you know, you'd wake up, you'd feel all the weight on like one side. It felt a little uncomfortable. I did wait until like maybe week 3 or week 4, probably week 4, to actually start sleeping on my side. And at that point, it didn't really feel as uncomfortable and I can sleep on my side comfortably. Another thing, you can't wear a bra with a underwire for 6 weeks, so they really recommend you're wearing a like very tight supportive sports bra because you really don't want like anything rubbing against the incision. So I forgot to mention, but whenever they did the surgery, they did go under the boob, like the little boob flap, and I do think that was probably like the best way to do it because they said the underarm is more prone to getting infected, and then like I don't really know if they go through the nipple, but under the boob flap I feel like there's a lot less movement there, so it's not as bad. Also, for me, they didn't bandage me up. I had like a sports bra that they put me in, and then they did like surgical tape to, you know, close the incision. You are told not to, you know, try to remove the surgical tape. So for me, I just waited till it fell off. It fell off like Monday last week. Mind you, I got mine done November 8th, and today is what, December 12th. So I think I'm like 4th week going on my 5th week. I feel like you're not limited too much. I was able to go back to work after a week of being off. Is there anything I wish I would have knew beforehand? I think because I had done research and had talked to people who had theirs done, and then had also watched people like their YouTube videos that had them done, I was pretty prepared. I wasn't really like nervous for the surgery because it is a very common surgery and they end up being fine. So even like the day of, I like knew I should have been nervous, but I wasn't really like nervous because I was like, well, I'm gonna be put to sleep and then I'm gonna just wake up, and that's what it's gonna be. So as far as like nerves and everything, wasn't really that nervous. The size I was prior was a 32B, and now I am either 34 or 36C. I'll post some before and after pictures here or here. I'll post them somewhere. This is my boobs and now. So this is just, well, you can't really tell, but that's the side profile. And then this is just the front profile. So I feel like they look very natural. this is just how they look on my frame. They're nothing too crazy, and that is just my side profile. So yeah, nothing really crazy. So overall, if you are thinking about getting a breast augmentation, I would recommend doing it. My doctor was amazing. His wife is also amazing. Again, I'm gonna link everyone's stuff down below. Overall, healing process was not that bad for me. I haven't had any complications. I will say, like, the biggest thing as far as pain would go is if I waited a little too long to take my pills, then I could really feel the weight, and they felt very sore, they felt very stiff, and my boobs were pretty itchy as well. But yeah, so that was my experience. I feel like I covered everything, but if I missed anything, please do comment down below. I'm an open book. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. I'm glad I was able to finally get this video up. Anyways, that is the video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Again, if you have any more questions, please ask down below in the comments. Don't be shy. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. And if you liked me, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the bell notification, it'll let you know every time I upload a video. So yeah, I will see y'all next time. Bye.